Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this ongoing celebration we have for our food pantry, which has been in existence now for at least 40 years, and I almost think a little longer than that. My husband and I were asked by Tom Strong to join the food pantry team, and our job was to um, stock, keep it stocked. So we went shopping. We stopped every time we were in Champaign. We stopped at the Eastern Illinois Food Bank and picked up items there and filled our car and brought them home. And then to help fill the bags for people who had emergency needs. So that was the purpose of the first food bank back in that tiny room behind the piano, was for emergency usage. So we were referred to by churches and community agencies such as mental health, Red Cross, DCFS, and that type of thing. So people came to us by referral. We packed up 2 bags of food from that food pantry and gave them a voucher. The voucher was for them to Quality Market, which was within walking distance of the church, and it's not here anymore, but it was a fine local grocery store. And the voucher provided for them to pick up milk, eggs, and a pound of ground beef. So that was our plan. That's what we did. And then eventually Tom left and I became the coordinator of the food pantry. Well, one of the things we initiated was dating the food that came in. We were doing some kind of control over what we were passing out. We were going along and probably wouldn't have made the changes that we have to what we have become without the 2 floods. And they happened in January and February of 2008. It was a very abrupt. We got to church one Sunday morning, and learned that people had been evacuated in the night. Our town had flooded. People were helped by the Red Cross. All of a sudden, Trinity Church was housing the evacuated people who didn't have family or friends that they could go live with. And 2 things happened that day. Dave Kleinfelter, I remember, was on the team with us. And so I said to Dave, let's go downstairs and bag up everything we have. We did that. At the same time in Cessna Park, I believe it was the Apostolic Church in Cessna Park, somebody knew about the flood and called everybody in the congregation to bring what they could out of their own homes. And they brought that into us, and we called the radio station, and we began immediately giving away food, no criteria, just come and take. So we struggled for a while. We were going to Walmart every day. Unfortunately, and I don't know why, I didn't know how much money we had. So I would order things and buy things trusting. That worked because we were flooded. And I mean that as a pun. We were literally flooded with donations of food and money. And it just came constantly. So that we set up, as soon as we needed to, tables in the north end of the fellowship hall, which allowed people to come in through the basement door, stop at our reception table, and to shop and take what they needed. So it was at a time of immense generosity of food and personal product, and dog and cat food, and and time. People just showed up and showed up to help us. Even one of our clients was a regular helper every single day, helping us. We were there from 8 to 6 every day, which I think were the FEMA hours. So every day we were there, 8 to 6. What I'd like to talk about are the the process of continuous change and improvement that were triggered by the flood itself, the floods. We never went back to the small numbers. We went from emergency only to serving people who needed food. And that's a big change. The numbers stayed large, as I said. We're still today seeing the large increase that occurred as a result of the flood and the changes that we made. We dropped the vouchers and began stocking the milk, food, eggs, and the milk, eggs, and ground beef in our food pantry and giving them out from there. We eventually, in addition to dating things, developed food guides. And the guides were guides for the food pantry volunteers as they filled the bags for the people who came in. The list was based on FDA nutritional guidelines and the number in the household. We finally, one member of the team, Dave Kleinfelder, said, "I would never eat that many vegetables." So we did pare it down a bit, but I think it's probably because many of us don't eat as many vegetables as the guideline states. We became aware that it would be ideal for us to set up our food pantry as they had in Sheldon, where clients could select their own food. I mean, they had the guidelines, but they could select the kind of vegetables, for example, that they wanted. And it was very respectful. I was not able to implement that during my time as coordinator, but I'm glad to say they have it now. So I not only moved the food pantry, not only moved the food pantry into that room in the back where it is now, but we then also had the room the food pantry. And as soon as the after school program ended, I moved our food into the hallway storage areas as well. And I see that the food pantry is still using all of those areas except the small back room where we started. All those areas, and in addition, one of the empty classrooms on the basement floor. We made a conscious effort to increase donations, and we were successful in that. So donations of money, donations of food, and then we sought the first grant, the Donovan Trust Fund, and we received regularly funds from them as well. And I am pleased to see that the food pantry has expanded in purpose and expanded in many, many ways.